Hi, we have Rik Deitsch on here, and we're going to do a question and answer period. So, anybody have a question?
Well, Neil, I already see in the chat box, someone asked about using the word pain when talking about the Relief Plus products. And it is a little tricky with dietary supplements. Legally, you can only make what's called structure function claims, which says you're supporting the structure and or function of a healthy body or body part. And anytime you talk about pain in that with dietary supplements, it can only be pain due to overexertion. That's the recommendation: pain due to overexertion. So that's what you can say with dietary supplements. But as I said, this is a registered homeopathic drug. So as a drug, you can actually make some claims that deal with symptom of disease or symptom of disease. Specifically, we talk about pain and inflammation. So legally, we can say that this is for the relief of chronic pain and inflammation. Okay, now we say relief. We don't say so basically that it's a treatment. Well, it is a treatment, but it's not meant to cure anything. It's meant to relieve. And we say that on. It's not meant to cure any disease, but it is meant for relief. It is funny though, because when you think about it, most pain is caused through an inflammatory process. And as we relieve inflammation, the pain gets better and better. I'm a really good example. I didn't say this when I was talking earlier, but I have a syringomyelin, a syrinx in my back, which is kind of like a gap in the spine. The only treatment for it is surgery. And the surgery has a risk, about a 5% risk of potential paralysis. So I've never wanted to risk the surgery. So most of my life, I've had to take some sort of pain medication for my back. I've never done the opiate thing because I think for a living and I don't want to do anything that affects the way I think. But I did take a lot of over-the-counter pain drugs through my life to deal with the pain in my back. And it wasn't until we discovered the use of cobra venom and I launched my very first product in 2009 that this is all I use now. So I've never had to take anything else. And my body is so sensitive to it that I take it once or twice a week and I'm pain free. And I don't want to compare myself to Darren. I was in chronic pain that interrupted my sleep or work. I had chronic stage 2 pain. I would say every day was about a 7, between a 6 and a 7. But now 1 or less every day. And this is all I use. And it is an inflammatory process with the syrinx in my back. So pain goes away. I can function. I can work out. I can do whatever I need to do. And this is all I'm using.
Great. So just to add, because Darren did mention my Achilles tendon, those of you who know me know I play a lot of tennis, and going for a drop shot in January, I decided to rip my Achilles tendon, about 78 to 79% of it, they said. So that can re-heal, but if any of you have ever done that, the pain from your ankle up through your calf muscle is beyond belief. And truthfully, like Rik, I would never use an opiate. I had a back operation a couple of years ago, didn't take any opiates, I just refused. So I would say that if it wasn't for the relief I got from the Plus Relief, I would have been in a lot more trouble than I was. So it really, even though it's not for acute pain, it does work for acute pain. At least it does for me. So, Dave, you raised your hand. You want to come on? Unmute.
Dave Gildick from Tennessee. I had a question for Rik. Rik, how many of the products, including the zeolite, are patented?
Actually, this is the only patented product in our portfolio. We have patents on the use of cobra venom for the treatment of pain as a use in an analgesic, but we also have patents on other uses of cobra venom for the treatment of autoimmune disease, viruses, and the like. We made a decision when I first launched the zeolite in 2004 to not patent my process, because my process, once I patented and everyone understood how I micronized and activated my zeolite, it could be knocked off. And then I basically, for the rest of my life, I would just be suing people for patent infringement, chasing after them. So we made the decision to make it proprietary, not patented. So all the rest of my products are proprietary formulations or proprietary processes. And just so you know, I did have a lawsuit with Wayora in 2017, which I won, which defended the trade secrets of my zeolite and said it's a valuable trade secret worthy of protection. And that was under the Defensive Trade Secret Act of 2015. So I've proven that my stuff are valuable trade secrets.
Great. Well, proprietary is such a powerful word. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hey, Rick, I've got a quick question also. On the spray, I know that Darren, sprayed it in his mouth, but he also sprayed it on his back. Is it is that an okay? If you only had the spray, you can also spray it on the places, and it does just as well as if the roll-on if you didn't have it.
Yeah, the spray is actually a little stronger, but the gel is specifically made to penetrate the skin. The spray isn't. The spray is meant to penetrate the buccal mucosa in the mouth. So I thought it was funny he sprayed it in his back, but certainly you spray it on your skin if you want to. It does have xylitol in it, so it's a little sticky, but but it is meant for oral use, and the topical gel is meant for topical use. But certainly you can spray the spray on your body. I would not eat the gel, and that's something I do want to tell people. We had a misprint on the first round of labels. New labels are coming in on the 16th. So when you get the topical gel, it says for oral use only. And Darren actually pointed that out at the launch. Do not eat the oral gel. It tastes terrible. So it won't hurt you, but it does taste terrible. So it is recommended that topical gel be used topically and the oral spray be used orally. The new, I did want to actually not launch a product. I had the proper labels, but there was so much demand for it that we did launch it. We did send it out. So the first couple of weeks, the topical gel does have the wrong labels on it, but the right labels are on the website, and the correct labels will be after the 15th of this month. All the labels will be correct.
Might we be able to have a testimonial page on the website someday?
Well, that's a Neil question.
We do have testimonials on the bottom of the page if you scroll all the way down, and yes, we'll be working on it, and we'll be working on some video testimonies as we go along. We're also setting up a Facebook, is it a Facebook? No, a Google Drive page that you'll be able to go to get it to get testimonials. So that'll be coming in the next couple of weeks too. So.
Okay.
Someone
did ask about any results with multiple sclerosis. These products are not specifically made for MS, but I've been working with MS patients for over 20 years. Our drug for MS is actually purified, modified alpha copratoxin, which is one of the ingredients, one of the components in the Plus Relief. So a lot of people, I do recommend when MS patients are asking me for what they can use, they certainly can use this. It'll help with pain and inflammation. And one of the issues that MS patients do remark on is chronic idiopathic pain. So I have found that MS patients tend to do really well in the product, certainly for pain and inflammation, but also for chronic fatigue. A lot of MS patients complain of chronic fatigue, and this seems to benefit that as well. The spray is safe for dogs. The fact is, yeah, xylitol is not safe for dogs, but that's at very high doses. The concern was when we made xylitol chewing gum and dogs get into a whole pack of gum. In fact, when we first launched the product, people were using this, spraying it on their dog food. That led us to create Pet Pain Away for dogs and cats, which is a chicken flavored gel for dogs and cats. I don't know if Avini wants a pet formula sometime in the future. If they do, Howard is shaking his head yes. That's, of course, an Avini decision, but we certainly currently make Pet Pain Away for dogs and cats. And we more recently got an extrusion line in to start making little chewable treats. So we're eventually going to make little chewable dog and cat treats for pain and inflammation in our companion animals.
Hey, Vic, there is a Plus Release item in the $4.99 package. Both of them.
Okay, someone also asked about pregnancy concerns. Understand the warning for pregnancy is a mandatory warning on the products, and it doesn't say do not use. It says consult a physician. And it is true that anytime you have a diagnosed medical condition or are under a physician's care, we recommend talking to your physician before using any dietary supplement or drug product. Pregnancy is considered a medical condition, so that's why we put it on there. But it is completely safe and non-toxic, and it is safe for use in pregnant nursing women.
we'll take a look at the 299 pack. It's a little difficult because of the pricing and costs involved.
Now, someone actually sent me a direct message. David, I don't know if you want me to share it, but I don't understand the question. So David, I don't know if you want to share with the group.
Hi, this is Dave. The question is, how do you explain the response from somebody that says it didn't work for me? I didn't get any relief. I didn't get any benefit. I didn't feel it.
Yeah, 99.9% of the time, there's two things that happen. Either they're not giving it a chance, so they used it once. They got a headache, they think it's aspirin, and they think it's going to work right away. So in many cases, it does take up to 5 days to maximize the benefit. They've got to keep using it. So if you don't use it, it's not going to work. So you have to use it. The second issue is what I did mention during my talk, is that people are on other pain medications in a protocol for chronic pain, and they stop using all their other stuff and start using this, and they say, oh, I got worse. Well, that's always going to happen. There's always going to be a rebound effect when you go off of pain medication. That's why I recommend that whatever you're taking, keep taking it and add this product to your protocol. It's going to help unbelievably well. And then over time, you can start weaning yourself off the other products, off the other drugs. And I have gotten literally hundreds of people, mostly veterans. We work with a lot of veterans. We've gotten hundreds, if not thousands of people off of opiate drugs, prescription drugs, other pain medications in favor of this technology.
So my interpretation from what you said then is that a good response would be, well, perhaps you haven't used it long enough. Keep going with it.
Yeah, you haven't used it enough or long enough, or did you come off of other medications in favor of this, in which case that was not recommended to do so.
Well, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, the mechanism is a universal mechanism. It should help everybody. It's a very simple mechanism of action that should help everybody. So if someone says it's not working, then we have to investigate that.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Rick, I have a friend of mine who just she has Parkinson's and is in a wheelchair, and wanted to know how the Relief Plus and also the Cell Defender, how would it impact him in a positive way?
Yeah, so Parkinson's is tauopathy. Actually, one of my really good friends is suffering from Parkinson's. It's something I'm finally looking into to try and better understand tauopathies. He does use the Cell Defender, and he feels better when he uses it. His cognitive function especially is improved. Most of the therapies for cognitive function for Parkinson's patients actually increases tremors. And so it's like they have a choice, either think clearly or have tremors. Or think clearly and have tremors, or don't have tremors and don't think clearly. So it's really a horrible kind of choice to make. But he does find that his cognitive function is greatly improved when he uses the Cell Defender. Certainly can't hurt him to use the zeolite. It's going to help everything work a little better. But with Parkinson's, the big issue is that you have a loss of part of the brain. The substantia nigra in the brain is damaged. And the be all end all for Parkinson's research is always going to be stem cell research that's going to regrow that part of the brain. So knock on wood, they are doing a lot of research in that area. And I hope that in the next decade or so, we'll actually have something that reverses Parkinson's.
Thank you, Rick. If anybody can do it, it'll be you, my friend.
Rick, if you allowed in here, have you had any experience with gout?
With
Gout?
oh
You mean
gout.
like- you
Gout.
mean
I'm
like-
sorry.
you mean
Yeah.
like Tom Brady goat, or
No, he said he meant gout. Yeah, it's his accent. Yeah. So
Like Bigfoot.
yeah, I understand. So first understand this, and this is one of my soapbox issues. As much as 40% of all diagnosed gout is not gout. So many doctors are used to seeing a swollen toe and they immediately say gout. So a lot of gout is actually what's called pseudo gout, which is caused by magnesium deficiency. Gout itself is caused by a buildup of uric acid in the blood, and those uric crystals build up. Because of gravity, they sink down your body, eventually landing in your feet, and your body tries to solubilize them by putting fluid there to try and break them up. And so fluid kind of pulls in your feet and your hands and things like that. So the way gout is normally treated is with allopurinol to prevent uric acid formation, and with colchicine as a really very violent diuretic to get rid of excess fluid. If you have pseudo gout, all you really need is magnesium. 400, 600 milligrams daily of a decent magnesium. You won't believe how good you feel. And even if you have real gout, it could be exacerbated by pseudo gout. And the difference with pseudo gout is not caused by uric acid crystals, it's caused by calcium crystals that form in the blood. And the magnesium helps the body distribute the calcium better. And so I do recommend that anyone with gout just get a magnesium supplement, because that'll help regardless. Additionally, drinking plenty of water helps keep the uric crystals in circulation. I haven't had specific testimonials on gout, but it makes sense that the cell defender will help, because it's going to help the body kind of flush out those excess uric acid crystals. Gout, the best way to deal with gout is a gout diet. Gout is considered a wealthy person's disease because it's richer foods, heavier foods that are high in uric salts and uric crystals that will build up purines that will build up and create uric crystals in the blood. So follow a gout diet. If you have to, take the allopurinol, but definitely get a magnesium supplement, drink plenty of water, and take the cell defender.
Thank you.
And now when it comes to pain, I'll tell that too. Gout is inflammatory, but it's inflammatory because of the buildup of fluid. But topically, definitely rub the Plus Relief in your feet, especially feet and toes. That'll definitely help with the pain and inflammation.
Yeah, I have a question. Is this call just related to the spray? I have a question about another product. This is my first time on your Zoom.
No, yeah, listen, I'll talk about all the products.
Okay.
The topic tonight, the principal topic tonight was the Plus Relief, because a lot of people didn't know about that. But yeah, I'll answer any questions.
Okay, I think the product is Defender. If I'm stating the name of it correctly, if not, forgive me. That is a detoxification of metals.
Yeah, it's primarily heavy metals and volatile organic compounds. Yes.
Okay. With that being said, but don't you lose some of the good metal as well, and you need to have something to replace it?
No, you don't. And this is in my white paper. The zeolite is really, really, really good at differentiating good metals from bad metals. Unlike other chelators, most chelators in the market, most single molecular entity chelators are charge specific. For example, EDTA takes everything out with a +2 charge. So in that case, it takes out calcium, magnesium, as well as lead. The zeolite, because of the aggregate charges on the face of the zeolite cage and the size of the pores, it really likes small, highly charged metals. It just so happens all the things that are bad for us are small and highly charged, and all the biological metals tend to be larger with a lower charge. And so it loves mercury, lead, cadmium, arsenic, tin, bismuth, aluminum, antimony. It does not like calcium, phosphorus, sodium, potassium, even at low doses, copper, manganese, boron. All the metals that are biomedical metals, metals necessary for life, are not really liked by the zeolite. They're very low on the affinity scale. So there have actually been large, huge studies done in ruminants, in goats, cows, and sheep, because this zeolite, clinoptilite, has been fed to animals for over 80 years in the United States. And their concern was exactly what you said. If it's removing the heavy metals and other toxins, is it also reducing the nutritive status of the animals by removing healthy metals like calcium, magnesium? And so in that huge study, actually with several studies that were published all in several years in goats, cows, and sheep, they fed all the animals the same diets they were getting, and half the animals got the zeolite. And it so happens that the animals that got the zeolite had higher nutritive status than the animals that didn't get the zeolite. So what they're saying is, not only did it not take the healthy minerals out of those animals, it actually became a nutritional enabler. By reducing the amount of heavy metals that were absorbed by those animals, they got more of the good stuff. So it basically allowed them to get better value from the food they were eating. So no, it does not take out any of the good stuff. And then in humans, we've actually did electrolyte analysis over 9 months. We showed that the electrolytic status of the people taking the product was unchanged, actually improved as they used the product and not diminished. So it did not take out any of the good metals.
So Rick, we're going to do one more question.
Rick,
There was
Rick,
one in the chat about from Janelle. Could you answer that one? And I think then we're going to need to answer it, but we'll be back. We're not going anywhere.
well, I have a quick question. I have a quick question about back to pure relief. Any benefit that you can see for someone with spinal cord injury causing quadriplegia? you know,
Yeah,
like,
so yeah, we don't really talk about nerve regeneration or anything like that. Someone does mention RSD, Pat Tracy, reflexive sympathetic dystrophy, which is very much like phantom pain. Um, RSD, the best way to describe RSD is that you had trauma, it's now fixed, there's no more trauma, but you still feel pain. And there's no reason to feel that pain. It's neuropathic pain. And yes, the plus relief will do wonders in people with neuropathic pain and RSD. In fact, I had a friend who had a horrible shoulder injury, loved to play tennis, completely rehabbed, and everything worked. And the doctor said, "There's nothing wrong with you now." And he still couldn't play tennis because he still felt the pain. And simply rubbed the gel in. Within a week, he was playing tennis again, and it changed his life. He said it absolutely changed his life. Now, when it comes to paraplegia or quadriplegia, believe it or not, in these snake venoms, there are nerve growth factors in these snake venoms, and that's something that's being studied with these venom components. Does it actually benefit in regrowing nerves, especially in the periphery? And the wonderful thing about that is in the central nerves, when a nerve dies, the myelin sheath from the nerve completely disintegrates. In the periphery, when a nerve dies, the Schwann cells maintain their integrity. So there's still a tunnel for that nerve to grow back through. And so it's much easier to regrow nerves in the periphery than in the CNS. So that's something that's being investigated now, especially with stem cells. And it's something that we're looking into even at Nutrapharma. Certainly can't hurt, and it's good for inflammation. So if there's an inflammatory component to that, they can certainly use it. We are working, I'd like to talk to, if anyone doesn't know, Dr. Bryce. He's a chiropractor, David Bryce, and he is a paraplegic after a motorcycle accident, and he's had a really great recovery over time. I have given him this product. He's been using it, and I'd like to follow him over time and see how he does on it.
Okay, we're just gonna, no more questions except for the Janelle question, and then, because otherwise this is gonna be too long for anybody to listen to.
All right, so Janelle asks, because there's zeolite in the Z-Immunity, which is a mushroom product, does that decrease the amount of cell defender we should use daily? And I'm going to say no, and it's not because I just want to sell a bunch of products. The fact is they're two different things. The cell defender is systemic detoxification. That's what it's for. The Z-Immunity is for modulation of the immune system. And the zeolite in that is actually a little larger zeolite. It's only a first pass micronization we keep as a powder. It's not the fully micronized product that we have in Cell Defender. So it's really meant for digestive benefit and for better uptake of the mushrooms. So it doesn't replace the use of the Cell Defender, it complements it. So I hope that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody. We'll be back.
One quick thing, Rick, a lot of people don't know you as long as we have and your credentials, which I think is incredibly important for them to know who's talking. So could you give us even your cancer background with, way early in graduate school?
Okay, it usually takes me a half hour to introduce myself, but I'll try to be really quick. I'm a biochemist. I'm both a nutritional and a pharmaceutical biochemist. I said at the beginning, as a nutritional biochemist, I formulated well over 50 different dietary, I probably up to about 100 different dietary supplements over the years. I've conducted about 60 clinical studies in the use of dietary supplements for health and wellness. I've published dozen of papers. I've written 2 books, Are You Age-Wise? A Guide to Healthy Aging, and Invisible Killers, which is all about the toxin environment and how they affect us. As a pharmaceutical biochemist, I run Nutrapharma. We have drugs for the treatment of autoimmune diseases, primarily multiple sclerosis and rheumatoid arthritis. We have done studies in viruses, primarily HIV and herpes, and studies in the treatment of pain. We also have new intellectual property in the treatment of Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, and we should be, fingers crossed, I'm hoping to have the rabbit models done by September, October of this year. So if it does well in the rabbit models, we will have the newest drug for the treatment of Lou Gehrig's disease. And that's a really big deal. And then we also have our technology that we use in MS, modifying it. We're now working with the Department of Defense, looking to potentially stop the use of nerve agents or stop the harm of nerve agents like sarin gas and ricin gas as an organophosphate nerve agent countermeasure. And so fingers crossed with that, we should have a DoD contract soon to use our technology potentially in the battlefield, especially because Russia is now tweaking their nerve agents to work around atropine, which is the treatment they use now. We believe our treatment could actually work with atropine or instead of atropine as a much broader agent for those nerve agent, those horrible organophosphate nerve agents. So when Howard's talking about my work in graduate school and postgraduate, I not only work with cone snail venom, I use that as the kind of segue into cobra venom in my work with the Plus Relief. But I also work for the Duke University Comprehensive Cancer Center, and I worked for the lab that was Gertrude Elian's lab. Gertrude Elian really made pretty much all of the drugs we use today to prevent rejection of organs. So it's all for organ rejection. But that work was in camptothecin analogs. And camptothecin was actually invented by Monroe Wall, who invented Taxol. So I worked in Gertrude Elian's lab, but I worked with Monroe Wall's people. And so we worked with a drug called camptothecin. Camptothecin worked in rats. We cured rats. You gave me a rat with cancer, we could cure the rats. We gave it to people, it killed the people. So we found out a couple things. First of all, rats weren't people. At least people weren't rats, at least not all of them. But we had found out, my job was to find out what was different between people and rats and why it cured cancer in rats and didn't in people. And we figured it out. It was because the human serum albumin was different. And our albumin, which is like a sticky transport protein, was sucking up the drug, dropping off of the kidneys and blowing up the kidneys of the patients. So I worked with the team that made the analogs to the drug to try to prevent it from sticking to human serum albumin. So we made the drugs that eventually came to market, irinotecan, topotecan, and 5-hydroxy-7-methoxycamptothecin. So those are chemotherapies that are available today, and they came from that research I did in graduate school.